time for the Tory Verdi Coaches Show. The Pitt Panthers Tory Verdi Coaches Show on the Pitt Radio Network is brought to you by Huntington Bank. Huntington, welcome. UPMC Health Plan, official health plan of Pitt Athletics. And by Pepsi, unleash a refreshing citrus kick with Mountain Dew and Mountain Dew Zero Sugar. Mountain Dew exhilarates and quenches with its one-of-a-kind great taste. Mountain Dew, do the do. The Tory Verdi Coaches Show is on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network.
And welcome into the Peterson Events Center here at the University of Pittsburgh, as it is episode number 2 of the Tory Verdi Coaches Show here on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. I'm your host, Josh Roundtree, joined by the head coach of Pitt women's basketball, Tory Verdi. Coach, how are you? It's a little bit of a gap right now, right? It's you have one game coming up tomorrow, but it's sort of one game in a stretch of like 19 days. So it's a little bit interesting because it was a pretty fast start for you guys overall.
Yeah, absolutely. Different, schedule. We got exams coming up, so our players have a week of preparation, and then final exams next week. So it's one game this week, one game, next week, and then we got this tournament coming up next week as well. So we're finishing up the non-conference schedule, and but we have a huge game tomorrow as we play Lehigh here at the Pitt.
How challenging is that to manage finals and exams and all that with the basketball side of thing? You have to make time for both, but obviously there's some important games to be played as well.
No, absolutely, and it is challenging. You have student athletes who are stressed out at this point in time, and they're very concerned about all their exams, and they're not sleeping much. And at the same point in time, we're expecting them to show up to practice, and we're very demanding, and we're doing everything that we can from a preparation standpoint, to win games. And so practices are hard. Our players are staying up all hours of the night, and so. And meanwhile, we're telling them that they got to get their sleep, and they got to make sure that they eat and take care of themselves. So, but it's a difficult time. We gave them two days off this week. Thinking my approach is like to give them some time to prep for next week for finals. We have one day off after our game on Sunday after our Binghamton game, and then we had a day off here this past Thursday, and then we had 2 days to prep for Lehigh. So. Hopefully, our players show up tomorrow, and they have energy, and they give it their best, and we could go out there and be successful on the court.
You mentioned the game against Binghamton, some early adversity. They came out hot. They were shooting it well. You kind of weathered the storm, and then put your foot on the gas in that second half. What'd you like about the way that you played after halftime?
Yeah, they came out. You're absolutely right as far as coming out and executing. We struggled to stay in front of the ball. They got downhill. They got us in rotation, and and that's what they do. That's their strength: driving the ball, collapsing the defense, and then kicking out for threes. We didn't do a great job of executing defensively and staying in front of the ball. And so when you're caught in rotation, throughout the the first half. They're going to get those quality shots, and they did. And I was just proud of our effort down the stretch. We did face adversity. We got down, I believe, 10 or 12. We fought our way back and took a lead going into the locker room by 1. And then in the second half, I thought that, again, they came out and continued to knock down some threes.
Yeah.
It was back and forth. But then I thought we took over the last, 7.5, 8 minutes of the game in the fourth period. We did a great job of just buckling down and then executing offensively. We slowed it up, made it a half-court game, and got the ball exactly where we wanted it to be, and we scored high percentage shots.
You mentioned the defense. There was a stretch there, about 11 minutes and change, actually. And I was thinking the whole time, feels like they haven't scored in a while. And then I kept looking, and it was like, okay, it's 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes. It was over 11 minutes that they went with only 2 points between that third and fourth quarter. What does that say maybe about the way that you guys can adjust and you can play defense for long stretches of time?
Well, should give our players confidence in what we're doing and understanding that, they can do it. And it's all 5 of them on the floor. And it doesn't make sense if, 4 players are doing what they need to do and one player's not. You break down, and then obviously everyone's scrambling from that point on. But I was really proud of the fact that we buckled down and we got stops, we got scores, and then all of a sudden the tide changed.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get a little bit more confidence when you're knocking down shots. You play a little bit harder defensively, and then we just really took care of the ball, valued the ball, executed down the stretch, and like I said, we got high percentage shots from, Leah King and Aislinn Macklin.
You look back, first 5 games this year, you guys were, I think, minus 29 assist-to-turnover ratio. The last 4 games, you're plus 25. What's kind of changed in that? I'm guessing just maturity and getting used to the system, but obviously it seems like there's been an effort to not turn the ball over.
No, I mean, we talk about it all the time, and I think there is a maturation process and a confidence piece, and I think that, to be honest with you, I think the West Virginia game kind of, threw us in a downward spiral right off the bat, and it took a while for us to, just get back, and I think it took a lot of players' confidence out, and in a way, and they needed to get through a good portion of our non-conference schedule to get it back, but last 4 games took care of the basketball. When we do that, obviously teams aren't going to score in transition because we're turning the ball over. But more importantly, we're going to be able to execute offensively. We're going to be able to put points on the board. And so we got to continue to do that. We got to value the ball. We got to meet passes, both post players and guards. And we got to be strategic in that regards. But we can't just turn the ball over and for a lack of execution.
Of all the things a college coach faces and has to deal with, is confidence maybe sometimes the most difficult one to get back or to prevent from losing in the first place?
It is, especially when you have a young team and an inexperienced team, and you look through, our roster, and a lot of our players haven't played that much.
Yeah.
And so, Leah King, I would say, is probably, the one on our roster that's played a lot. She played a lot last year. And second leading scorer, and so she has minutes. But when you go through everyone else, there's not a whole lot of time there, and it's like all of a sudden you get punched in the jaw, and then you lose your confidence. It's hard to get back, and so and where you get your confidence from is by getting back in the gym, and and we have communicated that to our players, and our coaching staff is doing a great job of working with them, getting in the gym, and doing everything that we can so that they are confident.
Great segue by you. You're a pro at this because we're going to talk about Leah 2 next. So when we come back, we're going to talk about Leah 2, the great start that Leah 2 King has had here in the 2023-24 season. So we'll dive into that. When we come back, it's the Tory Verdi Show right here on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. Radio Network, as we get ready for tomorrow's game against Lehigh. We're going to talk with Coach Verdi about that in just a little bit, but I want to talk to you first about a player that's just having an amazing season. She's actually sitting right here. We're going to talk to her in a little bit, so I guess you can't criticize her right. Well,
no,
I guess
that's why she came over here. She knew what the segment was about, and then comes right courtside, so I have to say everything and be positive, I guess. Well, you know what? That's okay. I was going to be positive anyways. So regardless if she's here or not, and she knows I tell the truth. I keep it real, the good and the bad. But there's a lot of good here when we talk about Leah 2 King.
There is a lot of good. She's had an incredible start to the year, over 21 points a game, averaging a double-double this year. I looked this up earlier. There's one program in the country, one school in the country that has a women's and men's basketball player in the top 15 in points per game and total points scored. And that one school is Pitt, with Blake Hinson on the men's side and Leah 2 on the women's side. What has allowed her to score the basketball as much as she has this year?
Well, I think it's a combination of things. I think it started in the offseason, and in my evaluation, I went through every single game last year, and, I knew that, she could score the basketball, but I needed her to take it to the next level. There were spurts last year where she gets it going and then she kind of disappears a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, where'd she go? I'm like, we need that for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And so we put her in position, but more importantly, she has accepted that, and she wants it. And, she goes on the court and she works her tail off. And she's done a great job of posting up and scoring, not only with her back to the basket, but facing up, ripping and driving, and catching the ball in transition. And so we need that from her. We need that type of production from her. But, I told her all the time, and I'm not surprised. And I said this to her. I early on, I said, I think you could do more for us. And she looked at me, maybe, and you could probably bring this out of her when you talk to her. But she's kind of puzzled, and I get, scoring, 18 points, 20 points, for most student athletes, they're like, that's a lot. I'm like, I think she could do more.
Yeah.
That's how much confidence I have. But, when you go back to the Binghamton game and you look at it, like where did our point production come from? Like we executed down the stretch and we got the ball where it needed to be, and you're getting high percentage shots, and you're knocking them down. And if you're not knocking them down, you're getting great looks at the basket, and that's what we need. And she's been a leader for us on the floor, but doing a great job for us on both sides of the ball.
I think one thing that stood out, she's scoring a lot of points, and that's great, but she's also shooting it at a pretty high mark when you talk about field goal percentage. The efficiency has been there. How much of that goes back to just film preparation, watching video and seeing like, hey, look, this is a good shot, this is maybe not a good shot, and learning and growing from that?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm not sure if she takes that many bad shots.
I agree. Yeah.
I'm never like, whoa, what was that? And so, regardless of what teams throw at us, if some teams have thrown zone at us, and she's a great zone buster. I mean, you throw it right in the middle, and we give a 1-3-1 look, and she could catch it, and she could pass it, she could shoot it. Like, she's a great facilitator right there, but she's got an unbelievable 15-foot jump shot. So I think it's just, comes down to confidence. And I think when she catches the ball, she knows, what to do with it, and that's put in the basket. And I'm telling her all along, like, you're not passing the ball out. And I say that to my post players all the time. And they should love playing for me, because it's like when we post you up and you catch the ball on the block, you're not kicking it out. Like, I'm not putting you in that spot to be a facilitator to kick it out. Kick it out if there's a double team, right? Kick it out if they come down to clamp down on you. Our guards, they move on the ball side, relocate, and we kick it out for a 3 or whatever. But other than that, like, you're catching the ball, you're in a one-on-one situation. We want you to score, and she's accepted that. She understands that, and she understands what we need from her.
Obviously, Leah Tu's upbringing became a big story throughout her time here at Pitt, and you guys have been able now, as a program for the last couple of years, to do the sign language and deaf awareness game here at the University of Pittsburgh, and obviously this is your first time getting to experience that. How important are things like that, and to sort of connect with your student athletes and who they are away from just time on the basketball court, and what have you got to know about Tu away from the basketball court and who she is?
Well, one, I know that, that's extremely important to her, and we're going to do whatever we can to support that.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, like, the tricky thing is, like, a lot of our players, they love community service, they love getting out there, and they all have a cause, and the thing is, I wish that we can, bring awareness and celebrate, everyone's cause, but we just can't. I know that we've been doing this, in the past with Tu, and it's important to her, and we want to make sure that we continue that. And I know that she does a great job of bringing awareness, and it's important to her, so we wanted to get out and make sure that we show her some love. And our response to it is, we're here with you, and I think it's a great cause.
We'll talk more about your team. Aislinn Malcolm's going to join us as well. Leah Tu King, obviously. Anthony Brammer, one of your assistants, will stop by and join us. But when we come back, we'll talk more about the Panthers right now, and obviously a couple wins in a row here for Pitt. So we'll dive more into that when we come back. It's the Tory Verdi Show here on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. Back here on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network, it is the Tory Verdi Radio Show. The Panthers coming off a win over Binghamton. I got you here. There we go. Panthers coming off a win over Binghamton their last time out, and now they'll turn their attentions to Lehigh tomorrow here at the Peterson Event Center tomorrow afternoon, Sunday afternoon game against the Mountain Hawks. But first, before we start talking about that game, I want to talk about another one of your players, and that's Aislinn Malcolm. We're going to talk to Aislinn a little bit here. Right now, I think in the early going, if you want to look at the most improved players, I mean, Leah Tu, certainly the numbers she's put up would qualify for that, but Aislinn in particular, I think the most improved players in the ACC that we're seeing right now, she has to be in that group. What did you notice? You talked about watching games last year and going over things. What did you notice about her that you could get more out of and bring more out of?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. There we go.
All right, there we go. Basically it all started in the summer. She didn't play that much last year, but I think that, last year everything was just one-dimensional for her. She's just, a shooter. And we talked about it this summer. Like, she's got to be more than being, she's got to do more. She's got to be a three-level scorer. And so we talked about, hey, your counter move needs to be, hey, if you're knocking down threes, people are going to close out on you. You got to be able to put the ball on the floor and get to the basket. And so whether you have a dribble J or whether you get downhill, get to the rim, like you got to have that in your pocket. And so she's a gym rat. She's a gym rat. She gets after it each and every single day. And there's no reason, there's no surprise here on my end, with what she's doing. And so it's been great to see. She's very coachable. She shows up each and every single day in practice, and she has a want-to off the charts. And so when you add those ingredients together, like then that production comes.
Yeah.
But, I think she needed to hear it from me too, is just, me telling her exactly what, her role is and what we needed out of her. And, in the beginning, to be honest with you, I thought she wasn't aggressive. And I'm like, you got to go score the basketball for us. And then I believe there was a game where she shot the ball, 2 times in a row. The third time came and she was a wide open shooter, caught it, and just looked to make the pass. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, we're running stuff, and I don't care if you score it, or shoot it 2 times in a row, 3 times. Like, you're open, attack the pass, and knock down the shots. That's what we want from you. And I think that, as and that's what I love about her too, is that she's trying to get her teammates involved as well, but at the same point in time, like when we're executing, we're running stuff, when you have an open shot, you got to be aggressive and you got to take it. And so I think she understands that now, has done a great job putting the ball on the floor, driving and getting into the basket as well. So really proud of her and everything that she's done here as of lately.
I think you talk about the driving, putting it on the deck, and finishing. I mean, that's been an obvious improvement. I think her passing, though, at times has been really, really good, too. How has that developed? Transition, running the floor. I mean, how impressive has that been? I mean, she had 7 assists in a game. I mean, to put up those kind of numbers, that speaks to kind of what she's seeing running the floor.
Yeah, I mean, total surprise with the assist. I never thought she could pass the ball, but anyways, I'm not sure if she passed the ball.
She just gave you a little dirty
I'm
look
not
there,
sure
I
if she
think,
passed the ball in high school, first of all. But anyways, but again, that's exactly what, look, attack the basket, the defense rotates over, drop it off, to your teammates in transition, throw the ball over the top, and let's go run to score. And she's embraced that, and I'm really happy that, she's giving us the type of production that she is. And so, she needs to continue to do it and can't disappear, hasn't. And I think her best basketball is ahead of her, to be honest with you.
She probably didn't pass the ball much in high school because she made a lot of threes in high school. When you're making a lot of threes, you don't need to pass it.
I think
much,
I think in high school
she's an incredible shooter.
Yeah, she was passing it to herself in high school, I swear. But anyways, but I love the fact that she's getting her teammates involved, and she's a total team player. And like I said, she shows up to practice each and every single day. I know what I'm getting out of her each and every single day, which is the beauty of it. And that's not easy to do. You got all these distractions. You got school. You got outside friends and family and all this, that, and the other. And so I get it. As a student athlete, it's not that easy. But at the same point in time, you got to figure out how to, once you get in the gym, you got to leave all that outside the gym door, go into practice and focus and have a want-to off the charts and be coachable. And she does that each and every single day. I could count on her. I know exactly what I'm going to get from her every day. Both these guys are sitting here for a reason. And I can tell you this. I know what I'm going to get from them every single day, and there's no surprise what they're doing on the court right now.
You have a couple of Western Pennsylvania kids on this team, obviously, with Aislinn and Jasmine, and then I know you coach Sam Breen as well, who was a Pittsburgh kid as well. How important is it to establish connections in this area, start recruiting in this area, and make sure that when there's a really good player that comes through Western PA, that they don't leave Western PA?
No, absolutely. We want them to stay here, and we want them to play for us, and we want them to have pride about that, and we're going to win. We're going to win, and we're going to win big. And I want them to, like be a part of this. Like, we will make history together. And I want them to be excited about that. And that will happen. It will happen. And it may take some time. Yes, I'm totally aware of that. But it was the same thing, when I was at the University of Massachusetts. In the beginning, we started with recruiting. I would go out and knock on people's doors, and they're like, we're not going to send you our kids. And I was really frustrated. I was really mad because I felt like, as a recruiter, like how can you not want to send, your kids to a program where I'm coaching.
Yeah.
And I said to them, when we get good, will you send us your kids? Yes. And then little by little, we made the change. We got better. And then before you know it, we flipped the program. We started winning 20 games plus, postseason play, NCAA tournament, WNITs. Like all that came to fruition, but it does take a little bit of time. Now, the problem is I'm really impatient, and so I want to win now. I don't want to wait for it,
Yeah.
But I'm very fortunate to have, players like Leo King and Aislinn Malcolm here on our team here, this year. But we want to recruit the best players in our state, and we want them to come to the University of Pittsburgh.
Going to do one more segment with you, and then we'll bring in Aislinn or Leatu or Anthony, whoever. They can play rock, paper, scissors and figure out who's going to go. But we'll do one more segment with Coach Verdi, and then we'll be back with more of our other guests here on the Coach Verdi Show. This is the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. Back here on the Tory Verdi Show, we are live at the Peterson Events Center. This is in the GBU Life Campus Club. If you're coming out, we have a couple more Tory Verdi radio shows here this season. They'll be before men's basketball games here, so stop on out. You can meet Coach Verdi. We'll always have player and other coaching guests as well, so stop on out and say hello. Coach Verdi has some koozies today he's giving out, so it's you can pick up some koozies. He'll schmooze a little bit with the crowd here as they come in and out. One more player I wanted to ask you about before we turn our attention to your opponent briefly tomorrow, and that's Erin Battle, a player that was committed to you at UMass. She then followed you to here at the University of Pittsburgh. What did you see from Erin as a recruit that you thought, okay, she can play at this level, and then obviously bringing her to Pitt is different than bringing her to UMass, but it seems like she's adapted pretty well to the level of play that you want out of your team.
Yeah, I think she has, and I think there's a maturation process there as well. All of a sudden you're going from, the high school level where, you could score it at will to the ACC. Yeah. And ACC is different than the A10, and she's done a great job, and I think coming in, she was just trying to figure out where she fits in, and through, I would say, a good month and a half, then figured it out, and so it's been great to see her. We moved her from the 1 to the 2, in transition, she could catch it on hit-ahead passes and really attack the basket and get to the rim. She's shooting 3 well right now for us as well, and so that's been great to see. And just to really get more confidence here and get some minutes under her belt. And I think that, her best basketball is, way ahead of her. And so I think coming here, I think she was, all right, let me see what it's all about and let me take a back seat. But, with where we were with our roster, we needed her to step up and play right away. And, you could say it's unfair, as a freshman, didn't get the opportunity to really sit back and learn, kind of threw her right in the fire. But that's what we needed to do. And she's been doing great things for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And you look at her shooting, second in the ACC among all players with a minimum of 11 three-pointers taken in percentage. I mean, it seems like she hasn't shot it a ton from the outside, but when she does, good things tend to happen. And she seems like a player that is maybe looking more and more to shoot that shot, and I'm guessing that's something that you're probably wanting to get out of her.
Absolutely. And again, I think she's trying to figure things out. All of a sudden, she jumps into the starting lineup and trying to get acclimated, with the other players, and where do I fit in this whole rotation, and when should I shoot the ball or should I pass it, and things like that. And now it's just like, look, my job is to put our players in the best position to maximize their strengths. I'm doing that. Now, when you get the ball, you got to do something with it, and that's where it's like, okay, this is my opportunity. Yes, absolutely. You don't need reassurance from me. We're running stuff for you to take advantage of your strengths. So, like, when you catch the ball, do what you do, and I think like she's coming into her own, and it's been great to see, her confidence start to come into play. And like I said, I think that her best basketball is ahead of her.
You've obviously hit the ground running here. Have you got a chance to enjoy Pittsburgh at all? I don't know if we really even talked about that. I mean, have you got sort of the opportunity to get settled in and learn about the city, and how comfortable are you getting with the roadways and everything? I guess the snow is going to get here soon, so you better get pretty familiar with it now. But are you sort of learning to love Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I love it. There's so much to do. We were talking off air about, all the professional sports teams and all the restaurants, shopping, all this, that, and the other. There's a lot to do here. There's no question about that. But I think it's a work in progress. Haven't had a lot of time to hang out and play, if you will. And I'm not sure, when that's gonna, happen because there's a lot of work to do here, and we got to continue to put ourselves in a position to win basketball games here throughout this year, and then as soon as we're done in March, we got to get out and finish recruiting, and we got to bring in some players who can help take this program to the next level. So that's exciting because right now that's a work in progress, so we're, again, at the end of the day, there's some work to be done, but I'm excited about where we are. I'm excited about the future and where we're heading.
You're a New England guy by trade, by birth. I mean, did you grow up with the Patriots on in the household? I mean, what were the – and I know you come from a big football family too. Like, what were the football allegiances and the pro team allegiances when you were growing up?
Not a Patriot fan.
Okay.
Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
And,
well, I was going to tell you you're going to win some points with the locals here, but then you said Cowboys, and that kind of ruined that. But
that's
all right.
Yeah, I'm just being honest. You can love me or hate me, but growing up, I was a Cowboys fan, and how can you not? Especially when you look at the Super Bowls that they've won, and Troy Aikman and Michael Irvin and all those guys, that was a fun era to watch.
Yeah.
The NFL, but let's stick to basketball because that's where I was at, and everyone's going to think that
we'll get you away from the Cowboys stock.
I grew up being a Celtics fan.
Okay.
Obviously just because of where I lived, but I'm going to be honest with you. Once Michael Jordan came into the league, I was a Bulls fan. And, I just really watched him a lot and watched a lot of their games. And, he's my favorite player. I always thought that he played the game the right way, just his competitive spirit. I think, like, if people, especially our young student, athletes, want to watch someone play in the right way, it's him. He played every possession like it's the last possession of a championship game.
Yeah.
Never walked through anything. And today, I look at the NBA, and it's so bizarre to me that they're having an in-season tournament to motivate guys to play hard. Like, to me, that's crazy when they're getting paid millions and millions of dollars, in salaries throughout the course of their season. And they have to have an in-season tournament to motivate them to play, and so that's probably another whole conversation piece.
Yeah.
But I'm just old school, blue collar, and there's so much that you can control in this game. And if you ever want to and you have a competitive spirit, anything is possible. And that's what I love about the two student athletes that you're going to talk about here tonight. They bring that each and every single day.
You say the word blue collar, and that resonates with a lot of people here. I mean, the blue collar mentality in Pittsburgh are one and the same, so I'm sure that that's a mentality that a lot of people in Pittsburgh are going to like. Last thing for you, sure. Tomorrow it's Lehigh here at the Peterson Event Center. They just scored a lot of points in their last game. They dropped 106 on LaSalle in their last game. What stands out about them? It seems like they have one player that can really, really score the basketball, and they can shoot it from the outside some.
Well, you pretty much summed it up. They score the ball. They score the ball in buckets, because they all can shoot the three. When you look at them, it's not their athleticism that's going to overwhelm you. It's how they move the ball. They move the ball and they attack you. Change of possession. They're going to throw the ball up the floor. Then they're going to throw the ball side to side. And the pass is what moves you. And then it's bang, bang, shot, bang, bang, three, bang, bang, three. And everyone can shoot it. And so, we got to be great defensively. We have to have a sense of urgency. They can score in a hurry. And then before you blink an eye, they're up like 17-6. Then it's like, 28-14. Like they have that ability because every one of their players that they play, and they'll play 7 to 8, they all can shoot the three. You close out. They put the ball on the floor. They try to get you in rotation. They come to a jump stop. They collapse the defense. They kick it back out, and then it's another three and another three and another three. And so I believe they shot over 40 threes the other night against Lehigh, and I would expect the same. They're going to be super excited to play us. We have to, show up, and we have to be great defensively. I will tell you this, we better communicate because defensively we got to make sure that, we have each other's backs and when we're in the right position and we're in the right place doing the right thing at the right time.
2 o'clock tip tomorrow, the Panthers and Lehigh here at the Peterson Events Center. We'll be on the air 1:45 with pregame coverage, but you can listen there if you're not able to make it out. But again, 2 o'clock tomorrow, Pitt and Lehigh. Coach, we're going to bring in, I don't know who wants to go first. It's Leatu. Leatu's going to go first. I think she got here first, so she gets to go first.
I think I'm going to stick around table side just to make sure that she's saying all these positive things about me here today.
Hey, Tory, thank you so much. Appreciate it. This is the Tory Verdi Show. We'll talk to Leatu King coming up next here on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. This is the Tory Verdi Show here on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. Thanks to Coach Verdi for joining us, and we're now joined by Panthers forward Leatu King, and Tu is off to an incredible start this year. We talked about it earlier with Coach Verdi, but Tu right now scoring over 21 points a game, averaging a double-double, and thanks for joining us. Tu, what's been going on with you? Like, what's changed for you mentality-wise from last year to this year? Why are you producing at a rate so much higher than you were a year ago?
I think my confidence has increased tremendously, and it started in the off season. I got into the gym, I worked hard, and Coach Verdi he's also like trusted me. I only got to know him for a short period of time once he got here, but during that time he's told me like he needs me to be that person and to take on that responsibility. And he asked me, he didn't tell me I need to do it. He asked me if I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And if I didn't, he was going, look elsewhere. But I took that responsibility, and from there, this is what we have. Like I said, confidence and just trusting myself to make those plays and make those shots and just knocking down shots. That's what it comes down to. Being in the right position and stuff like that. So
we saw over the last couple of years, there were moments where you took over games. I remember the trip to St. Thomas where you were just dominant. Did you look back kind of at those or think back to those and think like, okay, like it's not that he's just asking me to do this. I can do this. I've seen me do it before.
Yes, no. I think about it all the time. Like, I'm like, yeah, I'm doing it this year, but like, why couldn't I do it consistently like the last year or the year before? And I'm just appreciative that like now I've gotten to the point where like I know I can do it, but also the people around me know that I can do it, and we're all on one accord with that. But like I said, I'm just appreciative, and I'm just happy that I'm out here producing.
Northern Kentucky game down in Daytona, the first 30-point game for a Pitt player in 6 years. What was feeling good in that game? You've had some high-scoring games already this year, but that one in particular, a 30-point game, it just felt like there were times in that game you couldn't miss. What was going through you in that one?
Honestly, I feel like I got a lot of points from transition.
Yeah.
And coaches say it all the time, like run the floor, you will be rewarded, and that's what I did in that game. First, it comes off from defense. Like, when you get stops, you can get transition layups. And, we got a lot of stops that game, and I was able to run the floor. And with that, we executed. My teammates saw me. They passed the ball, and from there, I was able to execute. It wasn't just transition, but transition was a lot of that. I wasn't able to miss. I just think being aggressive and, once you see the ball go in a couple of times, it starts to click, and like even if maybe there's a defender in front of you, it doesn't even matter. And so that's what it was for me that game.
Obviously, a coaching change before this season. Coach Verdi comes in. You certainly, like everybody else, you could have left. You had options to go elsewhere. What was it about Coach Verdi? And I know school played a role in this as well, what you're doing here academically at the University of Pittsburgh. So if you can talk about that, but then also what Coach Verdi sort of meant to get you to come back and come back for the senior year.
Yeah, no, like I said, I had a talk with him, and I wanted to see what his vision was for me. For obviously my upcoming senior year, and he said everything that I wanted to hear, and I bought into what his vision was for this program. And he hasn't deterred, or he hasn't said anything or went back on any of the things that we talked about. So
all right, let's talk about some fun stuff here. Obviously, what you've done in the ASL and deaf community has been awesome. You've been able to do this game now for the last couple of years, like we did against Binghamton here on Sunday night. How special is that event? How special has that become to you? And you also get to go out and talk to those kids as well, and speak with them and communicate with them and be an example for them. And how special has that become to sort of be a pillar of that community in a sense, and someone that they can look up to.
Yeah, no, it's very special. I tell everybody I'm that person who, is connecting the deaf world to the hearing world, and
Yeah.
just being able to be somebody that these kids can look up to, knowing that they're not alone, knowing that I understand them, I hear them, I feel them, and just being a role model and someone that they can look up to. I feel like that's a great. It gives me a great feeling. Also with that, I just like my teammates being around that, teaching my teammates the language. And if you're not learning, then what are you doing? I want to teach teach my teammates ASL, and at the end of the day, we're trying to promote awareness, and that's what it was for these last 3 years. Just promoting awareness and letting people understand what deafness is in the deaf community, what the deaf community is about.
What's the feedback been like from people? I mean, I'm sure the messages, and I mean, I'm sure you've gotten a ton of that. What's that been like to see that receptiveness of that community and beyond, and people just want to know more about you and want to be aware of kind of what you've been through and what you're trying to bring awareness to?
Yeah, no, it's great, and it's super heartfelt. Everybody is there to support me, whether it's my teammates, whether it's the coaches, whether it's the people at the schools that we go to. And it's also strangers. Strangers hit me up and telling me their stories on Instagram and my DMs and stuff, and I see all those, and it just shows how much of an impact I'm making here. And this is why I want to do it, to make impacts on people that I don't even know, to be an inspiration to people that I don't know, and for people to share their own stories. I had people come up to me telling me that they're coders, which is a child of a deaf adult, and so they experience the same things that I experienced, and that's what it's all about, just going out there, connecting, and just finding similarities between people that you don't even know.
And it's obviously made you a better person, I think, too.
Yeah.
You mentioned your Instagram. Last thing for you. I know the shoe game and the fashion game have been really big for you here. What is it about the fashion world that's kind of piqued your interest here? How has that sort of grown with you? Is that something you've always been into, or is that something that's sort of grown with you here in college?
Yeah, no. I mean, being from D.C., I just feel like you always have some type of you have a sense of style and fashion, and so that's what it was for me. Like growing up, I did not have all the money to afford every single thing I want, but I had the eye. I wouldn't call myself a hype beast, but I definitely was into like Supreme and Kith and all the streetwear brands. And obviously, like when you get to college, you get a little more money, so spending or whatever. But that's just, I don't know. That's me. That's what I love to do outside of basketball. It gives me a peace of mind, and also, again, I can connect with my followers in that realm. Just connecting with people that I don't even know, haven't even met in person, sitting here telling me, "Oh, I love your outfit. Where did you get this from?" That that makes me feel good, and also me doing vice versa. And I just think that's another way to connect with people that I don't know, connect with people over social media, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
What's the shoe count up to right now? What are we at?
I don't count. I probably had like 50 pairs of shoes.
50?
Yeah,
Do you have
sneakers.
a favorite? Is there one?
Yeah. Off-white Prestos.
Off-white Prestos.
Yeah.
Is there one? And I know you get into like the whole buying, selling deal too, right? What's that all about? And how much is that sort of like a part-time? Is that sort of like a part-time job that you have like on the side?
It's part-time. So like buying it, like reselling and stuff. Yeah, and
That's a crazy world, right? Like there's a crazy market out there
definitely,
for shoe resale.
Yeah. It's like any other like third-party market. Like if you were to think about, I don't know, flipping a car or something.
Yeah.
Obviously less money and stuff, but it's you can sell anything in this economy. So
When basketball's over, what do you want to do? Whenever that is. I don't know if that's whether that's after college or go play pro somewhere.
Yeah, once that's all said and done.
What do you want to do?
I just want to be successful in life. So whatever that looks like. I'm a supply chain I'm in supply chain right now. That's what I'm studying.
Yeah.
And so I'll be in April hopefully get that degree, and with that I can do a lot of things. Supply chain is like the backbone of business, and so I can get into a lot of things with supply chain. But like you said, I'm also into fashion, and so maybe I can do something with fashion and styling and stuff. I don't know, but regardless of whatever it is, I just want to be successful.
Yeah.
And I want to be happy.
I have a good feeling you're going to be. Thank you. Appreciate it. Always good to talk to you. And having a great year, and go get them tomorrow against Lehigh.
Yes, sir.
All right, that's Leah King joining us. When we come back, Aislinn Malcolm is going to join us next here on the Tory Verdi Show on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. Verdi Show. I'm Josh Roundtree with you. We are live here at the Peterson Event Center in the GBU Life Campus View Club as the Pitt men's basketball team gets set to face Canisius tonight. But first, we're going to talk some women's basketball here, and we're now joined by Aislinn Malcolm, sophomore for the Panthers, who's having a really, really strong season so far. How are you? Thanks for joining us. Good, good. Well, we talked about too, and sort of the development that she's had, the increase in numbers, and obviously that's happened with you as well. You played some last year, not a lot. Now you're playing 30, 35 minutes every single game, and you're producing with that time. What's been the change for you from last year to this year that's allowed you to go out there and put up those numbers?
I think just the confidence part is huge for me. I mean, last year was definitely very difficult, especially coming from Churches Valley, a very successful program. I started all 4 years.
Yeah.
So going into a season where I didn't get as many minutes as I would have liked to, I think that was an adjustment, just keeping a positive mindset. And then leading into this year, just staying aggressive, staying confident in myself and what I've worked hard for all these years to get to where I am. I think that's had a huge impact on me this year.
You mentioned your time at Chartiers Valley, over 1,700 career points. You had 280 three-pointers in your high school career, and you guys, by the way, also won 64 games in a row at one point. What was it like being a part of that program? And, now you're facing players that you played with that are also in the collegiate level, and I'm guessing there's probably a pretty cool bond that you have going back to that team.
Yeah, I'm still super close with all of them. Still talk to them every single day. We have a group chat. We text in all the time. I just think the culture of my high school and the family-orientedness, I mean, I've known those girls since second grade.
Yeah.
And I've been best friends with them since second grade, and that showed on the court every time we stepped out. So I think just that family culture really helped us to succeed.
You mentioned, obviously, last year it was tough. Wins weren't coming. How difficult is that to deal with when you're so used to winning? I mean, you lost – like 7 games or something in all of high school? I mean, how difficult was that to deal with? And how much does that motivate you to make sure that doesn't happen again now that you have a chance to influence it?
It was definitely an adjustment. I mean, I lost more last season than I did my whole high school career, so that was hard. I'm not going to lie. And I don't take losing lightly.
Yeah.
So I think this year, knowing we can do something and change this program and turn it around gives me a lot of confidence. And I'm willing to do anything it will take to get a winning season. And I think I know what it takes to do that, and I'm willing to do that.
Part of that has been, and we've talked about this, you're a great shooter. Obviously, you can shoot the three. But the passing element of your game has come along, and the driving element has come along. Is that something that Coach Verdi sort of ripped out of you a little bit? And how much more comfortable are you getting putting the ball on the floor and making plays?
I think my basketball IQ has always been something I've been very proud of. I mean, I think I've always had a high basketball IQ. And then Coach Verdi's really pulled out my aggressiveness. I mean, from the summer, like he said, we made a plan. I wasn't going to be one-dimensional. I wasn't going to be known as just a shooter. I needed to have a lot more threats to me.
Yeah.
And I could always drive the ball very well, but I think he's taught me that I'm not just going to be a shooter this year. I will be attacking, and I will be a lot more aggressive on offense and the defensive end.
Have you ever met anybody that puts as much arc on their shots as you do? I've never seen anybody shoot as well as you do that has that much arc. Where did that come from? I mean, have you always shot it like that?
A lot of people tell me that. I don't think I realize how much arc I have.
Yeah.
But
if we're ever playing in a low-ceiling gym, you got to be careful because you might scrape the roof.
That's true. Everyone always says they think it's going to hit the ceiling. That's funny.
Have you always shot like that?
I have. I really have.
So it's just that's just natural for you. That's how it comes. That's if it goes
like,
in, it goes in,
like,
right?
To me, it's not that high, but everyone else, they're like, you have so much arc on your shot. I'm like, do I?
You do. Who's we talked about Sue's fashion game. Is she the fashion first person on the team? Is there anybody that touches Sue?
No one even compares to Sue. Sue is her own different breed. That girl is something.
Last thing for you, obviously, it seems like you get a lot of support here at games. You get family, friends that come out and watch you play, and Chartiers Valley community, I'm sure, has come out in large numbers for you. But how important is that for you to be the Pittsburgh kid playing on Pittsburgh's college basketball team. Do you take that seriously, and is that a point of pride to you to sort of represent this region and come out of the WPIL and play college basketball here at the University of Pittsburgh?
It's definitely something I take pride in. I mean, I've worked with Boys and Girls Club forever.
Yeah.
I still go to a ton of like CV games. A ton of little girls I coached at the Boys and Girls Club that go to CV, love watching me play, love going to games. I went to a high school game last night. A ton of them were there, got a picture with me. So that's something I take pride in, my community, and I think that's what is very important to me, and just getting out there, doing little things, coaching at the Boys and Girls Club. And I think that's why winning here is very, very important to me, and I want to change this program around. Because, I mean, a ton of people come to watch me and my team, and they want us to win, and I want to win for them too.
What can you tell us about Coach Brammer, Coach Anthony here? Any good stories you can share? He looks nervous.
He's very good at scout. He is
Okay.
really, really good at scout. I won't knock him yet. But anytime they're running a play and he's calling it out, he's always like, I'm in their playbook. And it's so funny. But he is. I'm going to give him credit because he is. He knows every single play the other team's running.
Hey, that's what you want. That's what you want, right?
He has a lot of confidence. I
Good.
like it.
Good. That's good. All right, we'll talk about that then with Coach Brammer when we come back. Aislinn Malcolm, she's having a great start to the year. She'll be on the floor tomorrow when the Panthers take on Lehigh here at the Peterson Event Center at 2 o'clock. Ace, thank you. Appreciate it. All right, Aislinn Malcolm, when we come back, our final segment, Anthony Brammer will join us. That is coming up next here on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. All right, one final segment here on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. It is the Tory Verdi Show, and we're joined by Panthers assistant coach and director of NIL, Anthony Brammer. How are you, man? Good to talk to you again.
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Obviously, you joined this team with Coach Verdi, and you were previously at Evansville. You had a really good year last year there at Evansville, and now you joined this Pitt staff. What brought you to Pittsburgh? What made you want to join Pitt and join Coach Verdi?
I mean, the opportunity to be in one of the best conferences in women's basketball, to be at this level, night in, night out, where you're going against the best players, that was one of the big things. And then obviously, Coach Verdi was the other reason. The staff he was putting together, the things he's done throughout his career is something that, I want to do. So, being with him, being able to learn with him, that was another huge motivator.
Aislinn was just telling us that scouting is really important for you, and that you like to say that you're in the other team's playbook during the game. I like hearing that. I mean, how important is that, though? I mean, you have. I mean, that's a huge responsibility, that scout of the other team, and it's obviously something you take really seriously.
Yeah, I mean, there's a balance there in scouting. You don't want to give them too much, but us as a staff, we need to know what's going on so that we can help them as actions are happening. Like, I do take pride in being able to tell them what's coming, what's about to happen, to help them get to the right places on the court. And I know people have told me that they can tell when it's my scout because I'm up telling people where to go, things like that. I think at the Duquesne game, the referee had to tell me to sit down. So that's part of it.
Did you?
I did.
Okay,
I sat down. We were good. We were good.
You want to listen.
We might have
to
got a warning, but we were good.
Can you tell us about your journey? I mean, where did you start, and how'd you end up? Eventually, obviously coming to Pitt. Obviously, we mentioned Evansville, your last stop, but there were more before that.
Yeah, I mean, we could take it all the way back. I mean, I started coaching basketball at a very young age. In high school, I blew out a knee. I was sick. And then I blew out another knee. So I got into coaching really early. I was just like, I still want to be around the game. So, screw it. I'll go be the water boy. I don't care. And I had a really good high school coach who let me really be involved with the team. And from there, he was like, hey, you can go to college to do this. You can be a manager and, work your way up that way. So from there, I went to Old Dominion University as a student manager. Figured if I went to a smaller school, I would be more hands-on. I would get the opportunity to do a lot more things.
Yeah.
And I really did. I was there for 6 years on the men's side. Every single year we won 20 games. Was with a really good staff who let me do a lot and taught me a lot. From there, I went to the University of South Florida on the men's side as the video guy. we had one of the best years in school history
Yeah.
in 2012. We were in the Big East back, we used to come up here once a year and play Pitt. We got let go, was out of the game for a little while, coached high school basketball to kind of scratch the itch, had some opportunities here and there to get back in, but they were never really right for me and my family. And then Jose Fernandez had called me at the University of South Florida. He's like, hey, man, why aren't you in the college game anymore? And it was really about fit, and I was still in Tampa. It was easy to just go work down the road, and things went from there. Jose allowed me to be really hands-on, being a little bit older, being a student of the game for so long. I've seen a lot of different things where I'm not afraid to give input and, voice things. So was at South Florida. We were really good at South Florida. We beat a lot of Power 5 teams here and there. We were in the top 25 every single year. So that really springboarded my career, and then went to Evansville last year, and now we're here.
And now a wife and 2 kids that have come along with you, right?
Yeah, my wife Tara and my daughter Ariana and my son Braden. It's busy. It's busy.
Yeah, you guys were down with us in Tampa and 2 kids on the road. That was, I'm sure, a fun little trip for you guys to take and quite an experience for them.
It was the first opportunity they got to travel with us, but I did let them know that might be the last time for a while.
maybe when they're a little older, they can help out. They can student manage, if you will, along the way.
The thing at South Florida is, so my wife used to work a job on the weekends, and my daughter was in the gym all the time on weekends and stuff like that. So she's really good. She understands, but the 1-year-old, he's not there just yet.
Yeah, it might take a little bit of time. Hey, last thing for you, you're the director of NIL.
Yeah.
How it's a new frontier, I think, still very much so in college athletics for everybody.
Yep.
What has that been like, and how do you go about getting opportunities and looking into opportunities for student athletes, whether that's now or in the future?
Yeah, just like you said, it's an ever-changing situation right now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that are moving pieces left and right now. Like there was just a proposal for, schools to essentially handle NIL on their own.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of moving pieces. Right now, I'm kind of the point of contact for outside entities if they want to, get involved with our players. Also, I'm trying to meet people and, get in the rooms with the right people so that I can put them in the right situations or help at least, bridge that gap and help them there. But that's kind of where it's at right now. Coach sometimes calls me our GM because if they have any questions, he sends them to me to answer questions for them. But it's educating them on different things because with getting NIL, there's things that they have to do. They have to report certain things and so forth and so on. So there's an education piece there.
Appreciate it, man.
I appreciate
Good to talk to you, and I'm sure we'll talk many more times here over the next couple of years. Anthony Brammer, Panthers up next. It is a game tomorrow, 2 o'clock here at the Peterson Events Center. We'll be on the air with you, 1:45 Pitt against Lehigh as the Panthers look for a 3rd straight victory. We'll talk to you then, 1:45 tomorrow. Thanks to Tory Verdi. Thanks to Leah Tu King, Aislinn Malcolm, and Anthony Brammer for joining us. I'm Josh Roundtree. We'll talk to you next time. This has been the Tory Verdi Show here on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network.